You know, you guys are so busy taking selfies that you've forgotten about something even more important for your identity, and that's your signature. You people are grown-ups and you're signing your names like children. Tonight on Going Deep, how to sign your name. Oh, that was a good one. This is a how-to show about things you think you know how to do, because simple things are more complex than they seem. I'm David Rees. Let's do this. We're going deep with David Rees. All right, hold on, I'm sorry. You know, it was my idea to put my signature in the show's logo, but the thing is, I actually hate my signature. My handwriting hasn't changed since I learned cursive like 35 years ago. And to me, my signature looks like a little kid wearing his dad's business suit so he can feel like a grown-up. And I know a lot of you people have horrible signatures too, because we are no longer living in a handwriting age. Case in point, this was the actual signature of Treasury Secretary Jack Lew, until President Obama told him it was too ugly to put on our money, and he changed it to this. Guys, let's face it, America's signatures are in a state of crisis because none of us care about penmanship anymore because we're too busy futzing around on our electronic gadgets and gizmos.
I went to the New York Public Library after dark to look at signatures from a time when penmanship was important and keyboards and smartphones didn't exist yet.
These are real John Hancocks.
Oh my God, look how good that looks. I met a man named Thomas Lannon who oversees America's greatest collection of classic signatures. What is it about this signature that when I see it in real life, it's like, oh my God, it's really John Hancock's signature.
This is where the autograph or signature was born in the American tradition. Some early examples of George Washington autographs. At this point, just a young man, 1751, surveying land in Virginia. This is before Washington has killed a person. Later, he would go on to kill many people. Washington was very interested in having a tidy and handsome signature that would assure the people that the work was done by A.G. Washington, whose work you can trust, almost like a brand.
Using his signature to convey the best parts of his personality.
Right. So this is a later, very late...
What the Is this still George Washington?
This is the elder George Washington.
This signature is so different.
It's 47 years apart, so it's really like looking at someone's high school autograph and then looking at their autograph when they're 70 years old.
It's really beautiful.
George Washington isn't the only person who consciously designed his signature. Check out Timothy Leary, Johnny LSD himself, practicing his signature over and over and over again. And he wasn't even tripping.
Yet.
No, I think he's trying to get a stable signature that he could use over and over again.
That's kind of what I want to do. So I'm probably going to wind up with a bunch of pages like this someday. I mean, they'll be in the garbage somewhere. They're not going to be in the hallowed halls of New York's most august institution.
Now, Button Gwinnett is an interesting character.
Is it a cat that can sign its name?
He signed the Declaration of Independence for the state of Georgia. Relative to George Washington, there's not many autographs. Right after the Declaration, he's killed in a duel, so he disappears from the earth.
Of everyone who signed the Declaration of Independence, does Button Gwinnett have the rarest signature?
Yes, it's absolutely the rarest.
There are only 51 Button Gwinnett signatures in existence, and the last time one was auctioned, it went for more than $700,000.
Holy... It has my name.
Someone else has the same name as you.
Did you know this was gonna happen?
I don't even know if it's that.
Dude, it has my name on it.
So guys, this is one of the craziest things that's ever happened on the show.
I feel like I've been dosed.
We're looking at this document with one of the rarest, most valuable signatures on Earth, and the only other signature on the page is a David Rees signature.
What are the odds of this happening?
Today, 100%.
If I were the 1773 David Rees, I would have had a pretty elegant signature. Maybe it's because people in his time were writing with quills, and we're all writing with cheap-ass ballpoint pens we stole from the bank. And yes, I saw you steal that pen. I went to a place called the Fountain Pen Hospital, which is New York City's last remaining pen store. They have pens here that are worth more than $10,000. And there, toiling away among their thousands of pens, was Jimmy Hutchinson, a good old-fashioned American pen salesman.
We don't even call that a pen.
This is a piece of...
I've heard that, and I've heard worse about them too, but you know.
Let's get into fountain pens.
Okay.
I have this fear that as soon as I touch this pen, ink is just gonna explode out of the nib.
This pen works like a hypodermic needle. We immerse it into a bottle of ink.
Okay, I'm in.
Now draw up.
This is like drawing blood.
Exactly.
It's like a syringe of self-expression.
We put the cap on the back. They call it posting. It gives you a little bit more weight to the pen. So some people like weight and some people don't. Most people like a fountain pen for their signing, but when you're signing something, you want it to be bolder. but you're writing on a rhodium ball. It's a little bit more flexible.
Wait a minute, this has a ball too?
Right, you see the rhodium ball here? That's what you're writing on.
But that's not a ball that rotates. So the ball is really a ball shape.
yes,
Look how thin this is compared to that.
because of how you press.
Wait a minute, can you change how thick the line is?
Yes, depending on how heavy you write. Right with this one. Now we're moving on to a roller ball.
Oh,
It has a ball in it, but it has a wider ball. More ink is coming out of the shaft.
Right.
It's designed for gliding.
okay. There were too many pens to choose from, so I put on a blindfold and tested a bunch to see which felt best in my hand. This is the best one. The winner, rollerball pen. How much does this pen cost?
We sell it for $156.
Is this an even trade? What if I gave you this pen?
We don't even associate with those type of pens in here. We
Oh, really?
don't. We really do not.
Stay tuned. I'm about to uncover the esoteric handwriting techniques of the most powerful secret organization on Earth. Oh my God, it's Illuminati! Guys, what happened in the last 240 years? I mean, really, look. John Hancock, David Rees. The difference is more than just pens. I think the answer is pensmanship.
I went back to school and met with Sarah Bland, a teacher and professional calligrapher. Somebody told me that they're not even teaching cursive anymore.
There's no time. We probably have enough time to do printing, but we also have to incorporate typing.
Oh, because everyone uses computers now.
Yeah.
Despite hardly anyone caring about penmanship in today's technology-fixated hellscape, Sarah has mastered the art of handwriting. She was the perfect person to give my signature a letter grade.
C minus.
Oh.
Let's take the D. References third grade in a way that we can all relate to. However, we can move beyond that. Something more aesthetically pleasing.
I would like that very much.
I want you to marry these two.
Take the print D and the cursive D and make a hybrid Franken D. How do I hold the pen so that I don't cause myself pain as I'm practicing?
You gotta think about your whole arm. Your hand has a bunch of tiny little muscles that get stressed out, but your whole arm has bigger gross motor. And
Okay.
the wrong thing to do is
Right.
to use too many fingers. Like
Oh.
that. It's gonna lead to more tension.
So use 3 fingers or get out of the game. Can we say that?
I think we can.
All right. So I'm gonna go down, then I'm gonna go around.
Not bad.
Look how good that looks.
Much better.
I mean, already.
Well, you need to learn the rules, and then you need to break them.
You're like Thelonious Monk. Stems of capital letters should move from top to bottom, then reset and have fun on the way down.
I was practicing my signature all day, but eventually I couldn't even tell if it was getting more beautiful to look at because, of course, beauty is subjective. Or so I thought. You see, there's an old-timey street rumor about something called the golden ratio.
It's said that artists and architects have used this magical ratio for thousands of years.
But could it be used to make a signature more beautiful? Glenn Whitney is a real-life mathematician. I met him at the Museum of Math, and he told me that you can see the golden ratio in your own backyard.
Bam. That's the golden ratio.
That golden ratio is 1.618. and
Accurate
some
too.
more.
Yeah. You actually see this in nature all the time. This is how plants grow when they want to spread out things like leaves or seeds as evenly as possible. We see it in the seeds in the middle of like a sunflower, in the pockets on a pine cone, and around a pineapple. That's the golden ratio. That spaces these points out the best mathematically. That splits the circle.
The theory is that people are drawn to the golden ratio in art because it occurs so often in the beauty of nature. Oh, I'm sorry, your mommy didn't tell you that nature is crawling with mathematics? Your mommy doesn't love you.
In art history class, I heard about the golden rectangle. Is the golden rectangle the same thing as the golden ratio?
So imagine you have a piece of paper that's the shape of the golden rectangle. The special property is I take that rectangle, I rip off a perfect square. The piece that's left can be rotated around and it's exactly the same shape.
Oh, if you scale it back up, it's the same shape.
Scale it back up, it's exactly the same. The golden ratio is the proportion between the length and the height
Of the rectangle.
Of the golden rectangle.
The golden rectangle is golden because its ratio is golden.
Correct.
We gave you some of the famous signatures.
Uh-huh.
Let's see if any of those have golden rectangle or golden ratio properties.
Okay.
Glenn and I used his program to go out hunting for golden ratios and signatures.
So he has a golden ratio hidden within the top of his G versus the bottom of his G.
Look at that.
And then we bagged the big game.
This is
All right.
Barack Obama.
Where do you see a length that is divided into two smaller segments?
The O.
Absolutely, right in that O.
He better
Our
not.
golden
He
ratio
better
probe.
not.
Barack Obama's signature with his little crossbar there divides the height of the O exactly in the golden ratio.
Oh my God,
Let's
it's
take the
Illuminati!
little. But it doesn't end there, David.
It doesn't? Oh,
Take
okay.
a look at this. Your first name is the golden ratio times your last name. And lo and behold, you are golden.
What are the odds of that happening? Am I a
Well,
genius?
If you think about it, there are so many different measurements that we could take in your signature or in any image that some are bound to come out almost exactly the golden ratio.
I understand what you're doing. You made me feel mathematically significant. And then you were able to crush my spirits by being like, with an infinite amount of points, we can find an infinite amount of golden ratios.
Exactly right.
Look beyond the golden ratio for aesthetic ideals. Coming up, I make a deal with the devil.
Why am I here?
So math was no help in improving my signature. Math doesn't help anything. You know what does help? Spending time with good friends on uncomfortably small benches. Welcome to my bench of inquiry.
Why am I here?
Paul.
Did you understand that I was making an inquiry?
Oh! Paul F. Tompkins is a comedian, a man of taste and consequence, and the ideal person to have a discussion with me about the consequence of signatures. Wouldn't it have been crazy to be Abraham Lincoln and have the Declaration of Independence, and then you know as soon as you sign your name, basically all these slaves are going to be free?
Are you talking about the Emancipation Proclamation?
Yeah.
That would be crazy.
Your name is the thing that makes something happen in the world.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, that document is like a machine that's been flicked on. And in the end, all you're doing is making a series of motions with your hand.
Most of us don't experience that. Although we all have, at one point or another, some important document that we have to sign that does alter our lives.
Have you done that?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
Like buying a house.
You bought a house?
If you buy a car.
You bought a car? Paul and I were onto something. It's not just making your signature that's important, it's also how you're using your signature. I'm gonna draft a document and you're gonna sign it, or not. You mind holding all this?
Or not.
To illustrate this, I wrote up a binding contract for him to sign.
I, Paul F. Tompkins, being of sound mind and body, do hereby authorize David Rees to drive my car and honk the horn whenever he wants. I'm gonna call your bluff.
Really? You're
Yeah.
gonna sign it?
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I totally spelled your name incorrectly.
No, you didn't. I spelled my name incorrectly.
You spelled your signature!
Loophole! That's invalid.
Oh, you're good.
Well, I bet it doesn't help my case that there's video of me signing my name. That would come back to bite me in the ass, I think.
Paul, that old trickster demon, making an inauthentic signature got me thinking about forgeries. John Osborne is a forensic handwriting analyst. He's worked on high-profile cases like the Robert Durst investigation, which you learned about when you watched The Jinx to satisfy your fathomless bloodlust. You monster. I wanted his advice on how to make my signature difficult to duplicate. Your family has been doing this for 100 years?
Yes.
Analyzing signatures?
Yes.
So your grandfather was doing it?
Great-grandfather.
That's amazing.
Yes.
To test how easy it was to duplicate my signature, John had me sign my name 10 times. Then he asked my producers and crew to practice signing my name.
I'm David Rees.
He took all those signatures and said he'd be able to determine a genuine David Rees from an imitation.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create a series of 10 examples of your signature.
Does this signature look easy to forge?
No, it doesn't look easy to simulate. It's the beauty of signatures. You sign them with a normal amount of speed, and if they're complex, but they're also consistent with one another, you're protecting yourself in the natural way that you sign.
All right, so let's look at all these fakers.
So we'll take the first one, stick it up into the composite. Now the problem with this question signature is the writer tried to simulate speed.
How can you tell speed of execution just by looking at it?
Note how the end of the signature trails off to a tapered stroke. Well, that means that the writing instrument, as it left the paper, was moving quite rapidly. One of the things that you do is in the capital letter D, you tend to write the staff of the letter D separate from the large bulb on the right. Well, in the question signature at the top, that D is written continuously. There's no lift of the writing instrument. But on the other hand, if she had tried carefully simulating,
It would look totally fake and overlabored.
let's take a look at one of those. Kind of messy, but it was an attempt to do what you're doing.
But that put them in drawing mode instead of writing mode.
Exactly.
Who did this one?
Me.
This is Ray, our sound guy. Were you stressed about this?
Yeah.
Because you committed a crime.
Well, no, he didn't.
He didn't?
No, because you authorized him to write your name.
Nobody on the crew could forge my signature, but that doesn't mean some nefarious mastermind couldn't pull it off. Now is the perfect time to ask John the best way to improve one's signature in terms of security.
The best way to improve your signature is to execute your signature in as legible a fashion as you comfortably can, no matter what you're signing, even that informal document. You should sign in generally the same way you sign everything.
Write it the way it was meant to be written.
Correct.
Make your signature look like language.
Correct.
I'm talking to the camera because I'm yelling at my viewers right now. Use blue ink when signing documents, so if someone tries to pass off a photocopy of your signature, it will be clearly not an original.
The signature will stand the test of time because you can take a fingerprint from a dead person.
Right.
You can find somebody's password code in their smartphone, but to execute a signature says, I consciously acknowledge this is something I'm signing.
You're killing it. You can't get a dead person to sign their name.
Well, it's pretty hard.
Oh. Coming up, the most important cultural event of the past 100 years. Let's just emphasize to the viewers, the stakes could not be higher. Signature pride, I was loving my signature. I wanted to leave it all over town. And that made me wonder, where was I getting this impulse to just put my name everywhere? I know a lot of people feel that way. You know, you see people's names in bathroom stalls, carved into tree trunks. What is up with humans just signing random objects? Graffiti aficionados, take notice and rejoice thereby. This is Bio in the Boogie Down Bronx, one of the legends of New York's graffiti scene. And I just want you to know this is a wall that Bio owns. Remember, children, graffiti is illegal. I'm only talking to my children. I don't care about the rest of you kids.
There's so many things you can do with the ending of your name. You can either wrap it around your name, kind of like encircle it.
Bio said graffiti artists are very protective of their tags, their signatures. They will even paint a protective line around their tags as a barrier. Wait, do graffiti artists not like it when you guys scribble all over each other's stuff?
No, that's frowned upon. Even if, for instance, I went like that.
Oh! Okay, now we have a problem.
Yeah, I kind of just nipped into it. But, you know, if I had for instance, doing a throw-up is allowed to go over a tag.
What's a throw-up?
Throw-up is kind of like bubble style.
Okay, I find this very unsportsmanlike. So according to Bio, a throw-up is allowed to go over a tag because it took more time, and therefore it deserves more respect than a simple tag. Once again, Bio has done a throw-up on my tag. When did you start?
Oh, wow, early 80s. I was maybe 14, 15 years old.
Really?
Got off a subway and I saw this huge cartoon character on the outside and I was like,
okay.
I want to do this.
He's been tagging up the whole world for 30 years. You kind of went a little crazy with it, actually. How many times have you done your tag?
I don't know, several thousand.
What's up with people going around everywhere and tagging their name? What is that impulse to put your name on everything?
All society, most people want to raise their hand and be like, hey, I existed, I was here. If not, we wouldn't have writing on caves from years ago. I think everyone wants to feel special, feel important, feel noticed. So that's the drive.
There's something very human about projecting your identity out into the world so that it stays there and resonates even after you're gone. Would you care if your tags all disappeared when you disappeared?
The idea of having a tag live on forever is kind of, yeah, that's kind of nice. That's the point. You're here, you live, and then you're gone. I mean, do I want to make my presence known? I think that's part of what I do and why I do it.
200 years from now, if someone's looking at your signature because it's carved into concrete or hidden in a haunted public library, you want to make sure it's reflecting the best of you, not some end-of-the-night, too many drinks, semi-drunken credit card receipt scrawl. Step up your game. Sign your name. Select a pen shape appropriate to your hand size. Master the rules of penmanship in order to break them. Avoid writing with your wrist and fingers. Use your forearm and shoulder for smoother results. Add embellishments to your signature for style and safety. The more ornate and personal your signature, the harder it is for someone else to replicate. Don't push too hard when signing your name. It can interrupt ink flow and leave unwanted copies of your signature on other surfaces, making you susceptible to forgery. Signing your name is a deliberate act and should be treated with reverence. Think before you sign. During the making of this episode, I asked everyone I talked to sign my name. I took all their versions of my signature, along with my new signature, and put them all up in an art gallery. Simply analyze each signature in terms of its aesthetic qualities, okay?
Okay.
I asked Thomas from the library, as well as my buddy Sam Anderson, a critic at large for the New York Times, to judge which signature was the best. And ironically, they have the worst signatures of any guests on this show. I told them the winning signature would be placed in the new show logo.
So a lot is at stake.
A lot
Yeah,
is at
that's too
stake.
much.
In fact, I should say, great showbiz impulses. Let's just emphasize to the viewers, the stakes could not be higher.
I think it looks a little over the top. It's so pretentious.
It's got a lot of motion. You know, it's bouncing off the page. So this one's growing. It's growing on you now?
Yeah, it's a very artistic David.
I think the thing that's holding it back is the emphasis on the David Rees.
Right. I kind of like this one.
They just wrote David Rees. They didn't try to write an ornate signature. But how are we going to decide?
We'll arm wrestle.
All right, place your winning ribbon.
Okay.
It's got to be this one.
This is me. Did you guys both know that and you're just being nice for our TV show?
No.
Really tell the truth.
Honestly not. No, I think there's some like human principle operating here where there's like a vitality coming out of the signature.
This may be a little pathetic, but winning that David Rees signature contest was one of the proudest moments of my life, and I have 6 kids. Anyway, for the first time ever, look at our new show logo featuring my new improved signature. I love you, Timmy, Bobby, Jeffy, Molly, Lucy, and Abigail.